Welcome to Game Week with the Compas. It's NFL Week 7, and I want to start this monologue or intro, whatever you want to call it, with a story on a bold bettor who supported the Raiders. And let me lay it out for you because I couldn't do this, but I want to hear or let me know in the comments what you would do. But uh, say all you got to do is what I'm trying to say. I got to find the right way to phrase it because this bettor that supported the Raiders pretty much dropped a bunch of money. I'm not sure on the number, but it was money line money to win $500,000. So the Raiders were heavy favorites last week against the Tennessee Titans. We're not entirely heavy favorites. I think it was maybe like 4.5. That counts as a favorite. But that's the thing there. All you have to do is bet on the Raiders, and you have to drop $600,000. They're playing a crappy team like the Titans, but when you do it, the Raiders have a reputation of blowing it. But it went right for this bettor and the Raiders too, because the Raiders beat down the Tennessee Titans. This bettor cashed in the bet they're required to lay at least $600,000. That's my guess here, to win $500,000. And then the Tennessee Titans got a whooping so hard they fired their coach Brian Callahan. So to me, this bettor, knew something. Maybe it saw Back to the Future and felt, very bold there. But to me, that's a lot of money to put on the money line. I don't care who it is, the Raiders or not. But I just wanted to relay that story that I got from Lamar Mitchell at BetMGM, and the way he laid it out was this high roller said, I want to say on a Saturday, came in and said, I'm gonna come in tomorrow before the games and have a big bet. I won't tell you on which team. He came in with a bunch of money and said, boom, all this money on the Raiders money line against the Tennessee Titans. And they were like, whoa, this guy wasn't even a Raiders fan. They took the bet. They were sweating. They were hoping maybe the Titans could come through. Tennessee lost by a lot, and the bettor cashed in, took in $500,000. Victor, this is where you come in. I know you're a Raider fan. You're a supporter, but you're not that big of a supporter. Would you drop $600,000 money line to win $500,000, knowing that they're playing the crappy team like the Tennessee Titans? Would you risk it or say, it's the NFL. You never know what could happen?
I would not. And I mean, look, I don't have that kind of a money to be dropping on a team, but I mean, that was pretty bold, but I thought you were going somewhere else with this story, to be honest with you. I thought you were going to talk about someone dropping that kind of money on this game this week against the Chiefs. And so I was like, "Oh, okay. I kind of see it because I actually have something on this Raiders Chiefs game that I kind of want to get into it with you later on when we do our our what is it? Our super contest, our super dog contest, sorry. Um but I have some information for you that I kind of
Yeah.
want to relate to you there. But yeah,
But
I mean,
honestly, to
this
go off of that, the thing about what's really interesting about Raider fans, and it kind of throws a wrench into betting. I know we like to give people, kind of things to look out for and
yep,
betting lessons here. It's always hard to really understand a betting line or betting odds for a Raider game because Raider fans support regardless, no matter how crappy the team is, especially because the team plays in Las Vegas and they go in early in the week and they start putting money on the Raiders. And a quick nugget, like the money right now is on the Raiders, but that means nothing. It's just public people who are Raider fans happen to just say, I don't care, it's my team, I'm gonna throw money, and
right.
it's a rivalry week against the Chiefs. So it's very hard to get the sense there. And but yeah, I even told Lamar Mitchell, the odds maker at BetMGM, and I'm like, I doubt you're gonna get somebody drop $600,000 on the Raiders this week because they're playing the Chiefs. That was more about a team playing the crappy Tennessee Titans. But the point is still, like, to bet that much money in the NFL, it's just bold because upsets occur all the time. We just saw Tennessee beat the freaking Cardinals. So
Right.
uh, you know, sometimes it could be an easy pick, but you got to sweat it out. And but they didn't. The
Oh,
Tennessee Titans just rolled over. But to me, the point is, you're gonna always see Raider fan support, but this bettor wasn't a Raider fan. So that was really surprising for people at BetMGM. But yeah, you're gonna see a lot of money though on the Raiders against the Chiefs. It's a big line here. We'll discuss it when you get to
yep.
it, Vic. But just always be aware of that. Like, it's always tricky to get the sense of the betting odds for the Raider fans because they support. They lit some of them, or a good amount, live in Las Vegas. A lot of them travel from LA to Vegas for the weekend. Same thing with Oakland. It's not a long flight, and they always support. So give them credit. Even during the dark days, the Raider fans are going to support their team, and you better believe it's going to be a bunch of money from Raider fans on this team against the Chiefs, who just beat the Lions, and it just doesn't make sense, but they support.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that this line is so high, even with all that, because I remember you told me a couple weeks ago, going off of the same story, you even said, "Hey, like I talked to somebody there at one of the sports books, and they said, Raider fans are always going to put money on them, no matter what." And so that's what when we saw that line against, I think it was against who was it? I'm trying to remember now who it was against, where it was kind of closer than it should have been, and you were like, "Oh no, it's not that."
Yeah.
Sharp
Oh,
money
the
is coming
Bears.
in
Yeah.
against the Bears, yeah, because that line flipped, and you were saying, well, is you asked the person, is it because sharp money's coming in, or is it because it's or is it something else? And then they told you, yeah, it's because the Raider fans are the ones coming in with money here, and so I'm just surprised that this line is so high that they even with the Raider money coming in, that line is still really really high.
Yeah, put it this way before we get to the main event game of the week. If the line goes under 12, you're gonna see a lot of sharp play. I think the sharps are gonna lay the money on the Chiefs to win by 11. If it gets over 12, the sharps might go the other way and take the points with the Raiders. There's some kind of divide here, and which is not surprising because usually sharp money doesn't come in until like little later in the week, unless they see something they really like right away and they don't want the line to move. They'll jump on it early in the week, especially a lot of look ahead lines. But when there's something that seems a little off, they tend to wait. So right now it's going to be a lot of public money, and I think that's why it's gone up a little bit because the Raider fans are dropping money. It was probably 11, now it's 12 or something right now. But if it gets a little under that, I think a lot of sharps are going to put money on the Chiefs there, which is still a lot of points to lay. But again, it's tough to gauge here. To me, it's one I think I'd rather stay away from because it's just too damn high. I thought it'd be maybe 10, not 12 or 11. But yeah, if it goes under 11, sharps will bet on it. If it goes above that, I say bet the Raiders here.
Yeah, and I mean that's why we'll get into it. We'll get more into it. But Gilbert, we're here for to give people some betting advice. We're going to talk about some of these lines. We're going to start off with the main event game of the week, which this week is the Buccaneers at the Lions. The Detroit Lions are 5.5 point favorites at home. The over under here is 52.5. Gilbert, what are the numbers saying about this game? And I'm pretty. I'll be honest, just off the bat, I am really surprised that this line is so high. But I want to hear what you have to say about what their numbers are saying here.
I'm with you, Vic. I think this line is very disrespectful to Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They just beat the Seahawks in Seattle. They just beat the 49ers at home. They're 5-1. Baker Mayfield's playing out of his mind. He's the best quarterback right now. Todd Bowles is doing a great job. So, you know, before I get to my pick, I will explain what's going on at least with the betting money here. Again, talking with Lamar Mitchell from BetMGM, who is going to give me who gave me a lot of information from my story that comes out on Thursdays at si.com. And he pretty much said everybody's on Detroit. And I'm like, what? Like the Buccaneers tend to keep it close. And, to me, again, it's a high number. I could see it both ways, but it's hard for me to bet against the Buccaneers when they tend to keep all these games very close. And they beat Seattle and the 49ers. But I could also see the Lions saying, you know what, that was crappy last week. We need to wake up and let's drop 40 points right here, right now. I could see that too. So, but to me, to hear from Lamar saying that everybody, Sharps and Joes, are on the Lions here, it's strange to me. It's again a little disrespectful for the Buccaneers. Another one here to look out for. All the money's on the over here too. Like to me, maybe go under because that's a big red flag. People want to see it. They want to see a high shootout. They want to see the Lions dominate here. But yeah, it's just to me, it's too high. Honestly, I would rather stay away here because I think the Buccaneers could keep it close. And like I mentioned, I could see the Lions just flexing their muscles and dominating because maybe the Buccaneers are due for a letdown. I know they had one against the Eagles not too long ago, but to me, you're right. You're spot on that this line is too high. I wish at least for the Buccaneers' sake, it would be a little lower. Like it was lower. I think maybe that's why. If it was lower, maybe I'll take the Lions without thinking about it. And that's what the odds makers want you to do. They want you to think and not have something that's too easy. So I could see that too. But to me, it's too high for the Buccaneers. It should be more of a 3.5 game for Detroit.
Yeah, and I think for me, the real narrative coming out of this game, Gilbert, is the fact that when you look at what the Lions are under Dan Campbell against the spread, they're 48 and 21 or something like that. I mean, it's insane since he's taken over, and especially at home. They've been really good this season at home, I should say. Against the spread, they've been better on the road, especially as an underdog. I think they're like 10 and 3 under Dan Campbell. But and so it also tells you that it's not just like you said, it's not just the sharps, but the public. When you get a Detroit Lions team at home, they usually do well, especially in the regular season. We saw what happened in the playoffs when they were all hurt. Their defense was gone, and the only reason I would be a little bit tentative about this 5.5 is because of what I saw in the playoff game against the Commanders. But other than that, I know what to expect from them in the regular season at home, Gilbert. And so, I'll say I this is one of my best bets. I'm gonna keep rolling with the Lions, especially at home. I just think, you know, what we saw against the Chiefs, you can work on those deficiencies. I can see them, being able to make the adjustments offensively. We saw what happened last time they lost. They lost to the Packers. What do? They drop a bunch of points on the Bears, and I know it was the Bears, but we've seen them respond, and so especially under Dan Campbell, you've been on it with these two coordinators. They're up to par, and it doesn't seem like they've lost any touch.
Yeah, since it is the main event game of the week, I gotta pick a side here, but I'll say this: I will rather stay away. But since I'm getting my hand twisted here with this being the key game of the week, I will go Buccaneers. I think the line is too high, 5.5, and but again, I would not be shocked if the Lions just dominate. But I think this is more about giving respect to the Buccaneers, what they've done the last couple of weeks. Maybe Mike Evans comes back this week. I don't think Bucky Irving comes back. They're still very
Ibuka is
bang.
out. Yeah,
Yeah,
Ibuka is gonna be
Ibuka
out.
is out too. I do like what they did with Cameron Johnson, Tez Johnson. They just keep developing wide receivers out of nowhere. Uh, but I do also have concerns about the Lions' defense. Uh, you know, I if the Buccaneers are able to slow down the running games a little bit, it's gonna be very difficult to do. But maybe follow what the Chiefs did, and then you kind of get into this, where you take away what they want to do thing, and Baker Mayfield just scoring points and he's doing well, and then maybe you have to force the ball to or force Jared Goff to throw the ball. Then you got the game where you want it to be. But I can see Baker, regardless of who's on the field, keeping it close, shootout. Maybe he loses by 3 points. That's actually my pick. Lions win straight up. I go Buccaneers to cover. Again, I would rather stay away from this game, but I'll pick a side here. And then just because I don't like that everybody's going the over, I'll go under here.
Yeah, I like that. I'll go over and I'll take the Lions here too. And I'll say one thing. I think a lot of people um have already made their picks in terms of coach of the year. I know there's some Shane Steichen, people out there. There's some Liam Cohen, but I think Todd Bowles deserves a lot of credit. To me, he's been the best game manager this season in terms of being able to. And if it's a close game, Gilbert, I like the Bucks too because of Todd Bowles and how good he's been game managing this season. So, but all right, Gilbert, let's move on to our co-main event game of the week. Here we have the Atlanta Falcons traveling to the San Francisco 49ers. The 49ers are actually 2.5 point favorites here. The over-under is 47 and a half. What are the numbers saying in this matchup, Gilbert?
Yeah, I get why the 49ers are the favorite. They're not the standard the -3 favorite, which tells you people are thinking about the Falcons. Finally, I feel like it's they're like they need more respect. They need more attention. They beat the Vikings. They beat the Commanders. They beat the Bills on Monday night. I know they had that ugly game against the Panthers, but they're still a young team trying to find their footing in the league. But Bijan is on a tear. When Penix is playing a so-so defense, he tends to do well by feeding Drake London. And as we know, the 49ers have been reeling there. No Fred Warner, no Nick Bosa. Who the hell's out there? Like I could see Penix having a good game here. So uh, I do understand why the 49ers are the favorite here. Brock Purdy might come back too, but to me, I'd rather go and take the Falcons here. They've been kind to me all year. Every time I bet on for as a dog, they've hit. I think the Commanders games came through, the Vikings game came through for me, and then now the Bills game came through. I picked them straight up to win that game. So to me, I won't bear the lead. Bear the lead. I'll go with the Falcons here. I think they're just that good right now, and the 49ers they're fading right now. I know that I've called them survivors, but how many injuries can you take? Maybe Kittle comes back too, but that defense is nothing now. Like I thought the defense was going to struggle before the season, but Fred Warner, Nick Bosa were enough. And shout out to Salah. Now they don't; those guys aren't around. I just don't see it.
Yeah, especially when they are the pillars of your defense. They were the ones that you were going to build around to be able to cover your deficiencies. And with those two guys out, I mean, look, shout out to friend of the show, Big Tafer, who said, since Nick Bosa went down in week 3, the 49ers pass rush ranks 30th in pressure rate and is tied for the fewest sacks in the league with 2. So you're not getting any pressure. Um, and that's part of it, especially against this high-powered Atlanta Falcons offense. To me, I mean, the narrative here is it's time to start putting your eyeballs on the Atlanta Falcons because they're going to start to take over. I understand that they've underachieved the last couple of seasons, but Raheem Morris has done a great job of putting together his coaching staff. Zach Robinson kind of took a little bit of time to kind of uh, put together an offensive game plan that works for Michael Penix. And he's had his struggles, but when you can run the ball with Bijan Robinson, you do it, and he's the difference here. And and that defense, Gilbert, it's starting to just take swamp teams. We saw what they did to the Bills. We saw what they did to the Minnesota Vikings, and they're going up against offensive coordinators like Brady and and Kevin O'Connell, and they had no answers for them. So I'm with you here. I like the Falcons in this game to go on the road and win, and I kind of also like the over just because I know Kyle Shanahan's going to be able to move the ball around offensively, and so you'll get the points here. But I like the over here, and I also like the Falcons. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm glad you gave Raheem Morris's defense a shout out. Like I think they're one of the best teams against the pass. Like they don't have a lot of star players in the second there, but we know Raheem Morris well from his Rams days, where he knows how to coach it up well. He knows how to play this too high shell well, but it requires just rushing 4 guys and it requires getting pressure. They didn't have edge rushers before. Now they do because they drafted 2 guys in the first round, James Pierce and Jalen Walker. And again, they're not big names, but now that they're getting a push there, it's really helping out the scheme in the back end. And we don't recognize the names. We don't talk about them a lot, but look up the numbers. This is a very good defense. So it's gonna be a tough one for Brock Purdy.
Yeah, and one more thing here. I mean, they have Ulbrich running that
Yeah,
defense, who's a disciple of Robert Saleh. So guess what? He's gonna know how to defend
that's true.
this Kyle Shanahan offense. So just some things to kind of keep in mind here and why we like the Falcons. All right, Gilbert, it's time for us to go to the LA betting market. We're gonna start off in London with the Rams. Uh, I guess technically visiting the Jacksonville Jaguars in London. Uh, the and I'll change this number, but the Rams are 3-point favorites, and the over under here is 45 and a half. What are the
Yeah,
numbers saying in this matchup? Sorry.
yeah, it's a tough one, and I kind of needed this one to be explained to me from Lamar at Bet MGM, and it's like, okay, I don't even know what side to go here. Technically, the Jaguars are a home team because they're in London, you know, but the Rams did win against the Ravens, and I kind of wanted to get the sense of what's the money here. And he said it's a little bit of a favorite for the Rams right now. The Rams are kind of the early money favorite, but not by a lot. And then he said that he would not be surprised because a lot of these London games, bets don't get the money doesn't come into the night before because it's a 6 a.m. start. So people bet on a Saturday. You're watching college football and they bet this on a Saturday. He's expecting a lot of Jaguars money because the Jaguars tend to play well in London. Again, it's kind of like a home away from home, and you go back and look at the history. Even in their worst years, they tend to do well. I think they beat the Bills there a couple of years ago. I remember that. So you know, it does make me think about maybe going Jaguars here. It's just I did not like what I saw a week ago. Uh, I get why the Rams are laying 3 there. It's not a lot of points either. Like I could see the Rams winning by more, but the Rams are just so unpredictable. They like to play with their food. Like I'm not saying the Jaguars are the Tennessee Titans or the Cooper Rush Baltimore Ravens, but the Rams should be the favorite here. But I just don't like them that much this week. The Rams. It's a weird feeling. Uh, I'll kind of I'll let you have your input. Maybe you sway me here one way or another. But this is not one game I'm rushing to bet on. But I guess I see why the Rams are the favorite. I got no problem with that. But it does feel like a home game for the Jaguars. Like maybe it should be more of like a pick 'em or minus 2.5 Rams here. I don't know. It's tough to support the Rams right now after kind of how they looked in the last 5-6 weeks.
Yeah, and it's funny because I went and I looked at some numbers here, Gilbert. The Rams are 4-2 against the spread this year. The 2 times they didn't cover was against the Eagles and against the 49ers. The 2 games they lost. They should have covered against the Eagles if it wasn't for the block field goal
Yeah.
there. So, we've talked about it. The public loves the Rams here. So maybe that's part of the reason why, they're the favorites here. As I said, they're 4-2 um, against the spread. To me, the narrative here too, Gilbert, is the fact that you have one of Sean McVay's disciples going up against him. And this is another thing I looked up. I wanted to see what his coaching tree had done against Sean McVay. He's 4-7 against his coaching
Wow.
tree. Now, it's a little bit misleading because Matt LaFleur is 5-0 against him. Um, but he's done well against the others, guys like Brandon Staley. He's 1-0 against. I think he's 2-1 against Zach Taylor, and then he hasn't faced Raheem Morris yet, and now he's facing Liam Cohen. And so I think that's part of the narrative here is can he, yeah, outside of Matt LaFleur, continue to do well against his coaching tree? And I think that's part of it too. And I'm with you too, just in terms of what I saw last week from both of these teams. They were both up and down. I think if you put pressure uh, on Trevor Lawrence, especially with the Seahawks and how bad that secondary is, for him not to be able to take advantage of it, and just the fact that the Seahawks were able to just use simulated pressure to get, to Trevor Lawrence, I thought that's discouraging. And then on the other side, just seeing Puka Nakua, get into it, lay into his offense about the fact that they couldn't even score in the red zone, or even get past the 30-yard line at one point in that first half. It just tells you the struggles they've had offensively, and you're not gonna have Puka Nakua in this game either. So that's why I'm with you. I think you stay away from this line just because you don't know what to expect. You have a Rams team who's staying in Baltimore and then traveling on the weekend to London. You have a Jacksonville team that is well prepared to play in London. So I'm with you. I don't have any positives to give you for either one of these teams.
Yeah, it's definitely a stay away game for me. But since we're talking about it, I will pick and I will go with the Rams here just because you're right. They're 4-2 against the spread. The Rams are taking care of business against the AFC South. The Jaguars kind of came back down to earth last week against the Seahawks. So, and then the Rams have been training out there. I don't like the Puka Nakua is not playing, but hey, you got Devontae Adams. He better show out. I'll take a chance here. I don't feel good about it, but give me the Rams to cover.
Yeah, I like the Rams here as well, but like I said, in terms of the betting, I'm kind of staying away from
Yeah.
it. But since we have to make a pick, I'm gonna go here with the Rams, and they'll start the season 5-2 if that's the case. If they're able to pull a win out in London. All right, Gilbert. Our next LA betting market game of the week is a really good one. I'm excited about this one. It's the Indianapolis Colts traveling to the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are 1.5 point favorites. The over under here is 48.5. What are the numbers saying in this matchup?
Yeah, I've been hot and cold in terms of betting with the Chargers. I got it right last week saying take Miami in the points, or not to win, but take Miami points, and the Chargers won. I was so wrong when I said take the Chargers against the Commanders. Commanders whooped them. I did say take the points against the Giants, and the Chargers lost. So it's been a little up and down with the Chargers lately. They're kind of a hard team to gauge here. Again, we talk about getting the standard 3 points as a home team. They're not getting the standard 3 points here. That's a lot of respect here for the Colts. The Chargers are only -1.5 here. um, let's keep it real. The Chargers are wounded. They don't have a good O line. I know the Colts don't have the best defensive line, but I'm not gonna focus on that anymore. We saw what Washington did to this O line. They're bad, and we don't know about Joe out playing. Check out what's up Bolts for the full in-depth preview on Chargers versus Colts. But I think I got to respect this Daniel Jones offense. Shane Steichen is coaching his butt off. Jonathan Taylor is playing lights out. This Chargers defense can't stop the run. Khalil Mack is not back yet. So to me, this is one where you definitely got to consider taking the. It's not a lot of points, but you take some points with the Colts. It could definitely be a pick 'em. I could see that too. The last time the Colts were in LA, they lost to the Rams. It probably a game they should have won. And the Colts almost lost to the Cardinals. I was surprised by that. You said this earlier in the week, Vic. If the Colts win this one, they definitely should have more respect. But because this is more about the Chargers, but because the Chargers are just that banged up and the Colts are playing well, I'll take the Colts here just to win the game, and you get the points too as well. It's hard to win by a point or two, but it's that's a gift too.
Yeah, and I want to give credit to Fernando when you guys were having the conversation about some of the deficiencies with this Chargers team, and he talked about the fact that without Khalil Mack, they're really bad at setting the edge. And I just feel like in this game, Jonathan Taylor might go off. And we've seen him outside of, I think, the Rams game, where he was shut down. He's been, I think, over 100 yards. And we saw last week against Achan and the Dolphins, they just ran all over this Chargers defense. And so that's where I'm gonna start here with this game. But on the flip side, you have someone like Justin Herbert who just put that team on his back and willed them to that win. They should have lost that game, but they found out a way to win that game. And so that's where I'm at with this. So I'm gonna take the Chargers here. And I'll take them at -1.5. I like it, especially at home. And I'll probably and the reason this one is the over under is super high is because of the Colts, because they hardly punt. They're one of I think they're still the best team in terms of least amount of 3 and outs, Gilbert. So and Tyler Warren, man, he's been a beast. I feel like the Chicago Bears, messed up not drafting him over Loveland Colston. But that's for another conversation there. But yeah, give me the Chargers here, and I'll take the over here as well at 48.5.
So you're taking the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm taking the
Okay, I'm,
Chargers.
I'm surprised. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm taking the Colts here, so we're split here, and yeah, I definitely could see an over too. The Colts have been scoring at will, and then you just never know when Justin Herbert gets going, and he got Lama McConkey going too as well last week.
Yep, and we'll see what happens. But I'm gonna be locked into this game because I think it's gonna tell me where both teams are at. And I know the Chargers are missing a bunch of players, but I also want to see where whether or not I need to take the Indianapolis Colts series or not. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing that I'm going to take away from this game, win or lose. All right, Gilbert, let's get to our Super Dog contest. We both had a great week last week for week 7. You got 5 points for your Jets cover, which that was really good against the Broncos at, I think it was +7 at on
Yeah.
that game. Yeah, it was +7 that week. Um, I did not up. No, I do have it here. Sorry, I thought I messed up. So here we go. Go ahead.
Uh, yeah, that I'm trying to remember. Okay, so you had the Giants last week, right? So I'm gonna copy
Yeah,
you
that's
here.
why I got
Yeah,
confused. I'm like, it was the New York
yeah,
Jets that you
yeah.
had last
I
week,
had the
and then
Jets, you had the
yeah,
Giants,
yes,
and I thought I was gonna do okay with the 5 pointer, but you got the Giants to win outright, so you got the 10
yeah,
points. Giants beat
yep,
the Eagles, but hey, again, always take chances on the dogs there, and both of them
yep.
cover for us. And the Super Dog, I bet if you look at the numbers from the Super Dog, we're probably over 500 in terms
Oh,
of
we are.
at least beating the spread. So it's something that's kind of is like something that just challenges to bet bigger lines for the dogs. And maybe if we didn't have this contest, we wouldn't give them the time of day. But we're doing it, and you're showing the results right now. We've been hitting even just straight up. We've been hitting against the spread. So there you go. I'm going back here with the Giants. I know maybe I'm late to the party, late to the Cam Scatterboo and Jackson Dart party. I know they play better at home. This one's in Denver, but I'm gonna take the Giants +7 against the Denver Broncos. And here's why. Like, how do you was it what was the score? 13-11 or something ugly like that against the
It was they won by
Broncos?
like 1 point or 2 points. They
Yeah,
should have lost that
I need
game.
to double check real quick because I know I can't remember if that was 13 to
Was it
11.
1918?
Yes,
I wanna
I was correct. 13-11. What the hell is 13-11? Is that a scoregami? It has to be. That's an ugly score. And then the Broncos are playing this really crappy Jets defense, and you put up 13 points. And I get the Broncos defense is great and all. The Broncos defense could definitely smother Jackson Dart and Cam Scatterboot, but they smothered the Chargers defense. They put a whooping on the Eagles defense. So I know those were good. Those were good games at home. They had a bad game against the Saints in New Orleans. I get that, but the Broncos are not that good offensively. Guess what? The Giants have a good defense, and if you can't score points on the New York Jets, who have the worst defense under Aaron Glenn right now, what's going to happen against Brian Burns and that crew with the Giants there? So to me, this is more about not having faith in the Broncos winning by 7 points. Maybe they do. They're 4-2. I think they're overrated. I think Cam Scatterboot running that football helps out Jackson Dart, and I like the defense. They're getting a rhythm too. So I'll take a chance here.
Yeah, and they're coming off a mini bye, so that's another point towards
That's true.
you. And then the other thing is you look at some of the teams they beat. They beat the Titans, another game they should have lost in week
Yeah.
1 at home. And so I just, the only game they won convincingly was against the Bengals on the Monday night. Outside of that, and they're the only team, Gilbert, I'll keep saying this, Denver is the only team that has won after facing the Chargers. Everybody else has lost outside of it, but that's because they went up against the Bengals,
Bengals.
who, without
They beat the Eagles. I'll give them credit for that. But even
yeah,
that game, they struggled to score.
yeah, I mean, the Eagles should have they were up 14. They should have blown them out in that game, and they didn't. And kudos to the Broncos for keeping it close. And
Yeah,
then,
but the
uh,
Giants beat the Eagles too, though. These are the two teams
yep,
that beat them right now.
yeah, there you go. I guess we're gonna see which one of these two had the better win there. All right, here we go. We talked about this at the
Mhm.
beginning of the show, and I'm going with the Vegas Raiders here, 11 and a half against the Chiefs. And a couple of things that I saw here, um, and I was reminded even before I saw the video by Joe Morley where he was talking about Cleet Blakeman, the referee. Apparently, the Raiders are 2-1 when he refs the Chiefs Raider game under Mahomes. I don't know, whatever you want to take from that. That's up to you. I thought that was an interesting stat. The other thing too is that for some reason these Raider Chiefs games are blowouts in Vegas. but they're super close. They're one score games under Mahomes at the Chiefs. They're 5 and the Chiefs are 5-2. The only one that was a blowout was like a 48-9 game in 2019. Outside of that, they've been one score games. And so you're giving me 11 and a half here. The other thing too, Gilbert, that I've noticed with Pete Carroll now, and it's something that Adam Hill said before the season about this Raiders team that kind of stuck with me was that Pete Carroll wasn't gonna like this team because they were gonna score a lot of points, but their defense was gonna be terrible. It's actually turned the other way around where the defense is actually good and their offense is struggling, and so he's getting to do what he actually wants to do, what he's been able to do with Seattle, what he's been able to do with USC, which is run the ball, play good defense, control the clock. They've against the Tennessee Titans, I know a lot of Raider fans were upset because they didn't like the way that they didn't blow them out, but they did what Pete Carroll likes doing. They control a lot of the clock. They were able to go on long drives, and I think if they're able to limit the chances that you see from Patrick Mahomes, you can make this a one score game where they lose by 7 points here at the end, but it makes you look better than getting blown out like you did against the Colts. And one of the things I always look for is that these division games are always going to be close, Gilbert.
Yeah, I'm definitely taking the Chiefs here. I can see the Chiefs winning by double digits, but 11 and a half is too high. So I get the thinking here, Vic. If it was just 10, maybe I'll go the Chiefs. But even then, that's my rules. I don't lay more than 7 points here. Uh, I know the Raiders have been so. They beat a crappy Tennessee Titans team, which I don't really don't care about. Uh, and then the Chiefs get Rasheed Rice back too. But even when they have Rasheed Rice, they still find the way just to kind of make it close, and they don't really look pretty. Like it does help Mahomes get into rhythm. It does help open up the offense for guys like Worthy is not number one. Worthy needs Rasheed Rice. Hollywood Brown needs Rasheed Rice. He's the tone setter, so maybe that could help out. But like you mentioned, they got Max Crosby to have a good defense. It's going to be an ugly game that I won't pay attention too much, and I'm going to look up. Oh, maybe the Raiders backdoor cover, or hey, the Chiefs won by 10. Uh, that's kind of what I expected. I'll be shocked if the Raiders win the game. I'll definitely tell you that. But this line is just too big for me to think that the Raiders can't cover here. This it's definitely a good play by you.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, they don't have Aiden O'Connell. I mean, Aiden O'Connell could have been 2-0 against the Chiefs
Yeah.
if they don't fumble the ball last year in Kansas City, and then the one before that was the Christmas Day game where they beat the Chiefs. So, like I said, for some reason, these games are super close in Kansas City, but we'll see what happens. Gilbert, before we get to uh our five best bets of the week, let me just update everybody where we're at. You because you hit on that 5 points, you're at 77 points. That 10 points that I got with the Giants outright win plus the 5 points to cover against the Eagles got me up to 75 points. You went 3-2 in your best bets. I went 2-3. So the biggest difference this past week was the fact that I got that 10 points for hitting on that super dog. All right, Gilbert, let's get to your betting locks of the week here. What do you got for? Let me start off with your number five here.
Yeah, I'll be quick here. I've already mentioned this one. The Falcons have been good to me. So they won last week against the Bills. So give me the Falcons plus 2.5 versus the 49ers.
All right, number four.
This one I mentioned too, and I don't feel good about it. I just don't like the Chargers this week. So give me the Colts plus 1.5. I know I try to avoid LA teams here, but the Colts offense, put it this way. I just don't think Justin Herbert's offense could keep pace with Jonathan Taylor's offense. Sorry, Daniel Jones. I'm going to say Jonathan Taylor. So if it comes to shootout, I definitely see the Chargers fading at the end.
Okay, I do want. I want something here from these next three. Let's start off with number three.
Yeah,
Eagles.
I know the Eagles are a public play here, but again, I'm not going to listen to every sharp play here. I just don't like the Vikings quarterback situation. Like Carson Wentz, you can't trust him. JJ McCarthy is not ready to start in the NFL. He was limited again today. I don't care about the quarterback situation at all. They're just it's not good. And then I will say this about the Vikings: they're coming off a bye week. They are at home. They have a good defense, but I don't care about. I just they just don't do anything for me. I think the Eagles need this game. They're desperate. They're not. If they get 3 games in a row, they lose 3 games in a row. It's going to be a whole lot of drama. I don't think they want that. It's going to be trade AJ Brown before the trade deadline. It's going to be Jalen Hurts sucks. Saquon Barkley's old. The real problem is the O line. Fix the O line. I think everything will be fine. Run the football more with Saquon. Uh, but to me, it's going to be one of these games where, like, if a little bit goes right for the Eagles, that's all they need. I just think the Vikings quarterback situation is that bad.
Yeah, and I think the X factor is Brian Flores. What Brian Flores does against Jalen Hurts, I think it's going to go a long way. And then the other thing too is it's Carson Wentz revenge game against the Eagles. So the
Carson Wentz is
I
not
don't
good.
yeah
He's not a
he's
good
not.
quarterback.
I know. I just like putting that out there.
I
All right,
honestly
your
don't
number
know what happened to him after he got hurt, but he was
yeah
good before that.
your number two.
Yeah, this one's I will listen to the sharp here, sharp money. It's all about narratives, and we try to tell you about the ones don't be fooled. The Bears won. They got lucky on Monday night. Let's keep it real. I know the Saints are not good on the road. They're decent at home. They keep it close at home. They're in Chicago, but I'll take 4.5 here. Like on Monday, the Bears came through at 4.5. That 4.5 number is pretty. It's been gold lately for underdogs here. You get anything above that, and the game is kind of like a close game, not a lopsided. Like this is not a lopsided game because the Bears are not that good. So I'll take the Saints here plus 4.5, but all the money will be on the Bears because they won Monday night.
Yeah, I'm with you. I really like this one, to be honest with you. That was one of my favorite ones this week. Just because we like doing big numbers. I'm like I could have used that one, but
Yeah.
I'm like I'm gonna stay away from it. But I like the fact that you used that as your best bet. All right, number one.
Another one. I've been crapping on the Bengals, but I care about the line, the numbers here more. I should have made it higher, but my 1 pointer last week was Bengals plus 14 against the Packers. You were on this one too. The Packers, what the hell have they done to earn a 14-point spread? Bengals covered by 11. They got a little close at the end, but they covered. I wish this one, Bengals plus 5.5 versus Steelers on Thursday Night Football, was a little higher. Like the Bengals are not like that good to get 5.5, but it's still way better than a 3.5. I'd rather get a 7 here. But this is more about the Steelers being overrated. They don't have a good offense. Like they're okay, they have a mediocre offense, and then they have a below average defense that's gotten kind of old. They're not very good. I feel like I haven't seen a big performance from TJ Watt in a while. Uh, but I'll go out more on the Bengals being desperate. I think Joe Flacco maybe getting 1 game under his belt could have a little rhythm. It's really tough to lose 5 games in a row. Sometimes in the NFL, you're just due for a game. I'm not saying the Bengals are going to win, but I can see desperation and keeping it close right here. So give me the Bengals plus 5.5 Thursday Night Football.
Yeah, and I agree. I mean, Zach Taylor needs to win this game if they have any hope of Joe Burrow coming back and actually doing something. Because at some point, either at the trade deadline or after, you gotta just shut everybody down and be like, look, we just want to tank for next season and try to get some picks. All right, I'm gonna go quick with my week 7 5 bets. Like I said, I'm gonna keep rolling with the Lions here at -5.5. I explained earlier about why I like them, so I'm just gonna keep it short. I like the Jets here at +1.5. The Panthers have been playing well, but they play really well at home. The thing too is the Jets, as you just kind of talked about, the Bengals are in the same situation where they need a win. Like they really need a win here. They haven't won this season. It just feels like they're under a lot of pressure and they're at home. Justin Fields has actually played really he has played better. I know the numbers don't show it. I know he continues to make a bunch of mistakes, but I feel like as long as he doesn't turn the ball over, which he hasn't done, I think they're in a good chance to win this game. My number three, I'm gonna keep rolling here with the Texans at +3.5. The Seahawks, as I mentioned this stat, under Mike McDonald, they're 10-1 on the road, but they're 4-7 at home. They for some reason they don't play as well at home. I don't understand that. And the Texans are coming off a bye. As you know, I like teams coming off a bye, going up against teams like that. My number two is the Browns -2.5. Another stat here, like I said, teams facing the Chargers are now 1-4. The Dolphins just are coming off of facing the Chargers, and the Browns play really well. Especially their defense plays really well their defense plays really well at home for some reason. If you look at the stats, they just I don't know what it is if they feed off the crowd there, but they play really well. And so I like them here at -2.5. And then my number one, I'm gonna take a chance. We talked about the Packers. I don't understand how they keep getting these big numbers, and you're giving me the Cardinals. I get it, especially if Brissett plays in this game. I like him even
Oh
more,
yeah.
Gilbert. I like the 6.5 at home for the Cardinals. Yeah, they've lost a couple of games lately, but they've kept it close. And the Packers, I'm like, why do people keep still respecting the Packers? I don't understand why they keep getting these numbers, Gilbert.
Yeah, that last one, I wanted to put the Cardinals, for a couple reasons why I didn't. One, I'm still mad at the Cardinals. They really disappointed me this season. And
Yeah,
then two, what if Kyler Murray comes back? I don't want him back on this team. Like Jacoby Brissett was better. Even without Marvin Harrison Jr. for most of the game, this offense just looked better. That tells you a lot. Kyler Murray is a problem there, but they won't figure that out. So I couldn't do it. But yeah, and also I'm still mad at them, so I can't.
yeah, I'm with you. All right, we got two teams on the bye here, Gilbert, the Bills and the Ravens. So we got two games here to talk about with quick hitters that we didn't talk about yet. The first one is the New England Patriots are traveling to the Tennessee Titans. The Titans are 7-point underdogs. The over under here is 42. I guess my question to you for this game, Gilbert, outside of the line here and who you're gonna pick, is do you see a bump on the Titans here with the new coach?
No, no, this team is crap. It's a dog shit team here. They don't get a bump. I know they get the experience, Mike McCoy, Fernando's friend there, but it's also Mike Brable's revenge game. They're gonna bring their A
That's
game.
true.
Uh, like how fitting. Mike Brable comes back when the Titans just fired their coach the same week, interim coach. Like he must be laughing right now. I hate to lay that many points, but this time I have no problem. Patriots -7. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going with the Patriots as well. All right, our last game here is the Washington Commanders at the Dallas Cowboys. It is the Cowboys are actually they're 2.5 point underdogs here. Let me fix that line real quick. What do you got for me here?
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I know I did bet for SI.com. I went with Commanders. For Compas picks, I went Cowboys. So that kind of tells you I'm a little split here. I wish the Cowboys got +3.5. I would not hesitate. I would take
Same.
Cowboys here. Uh, I know the Commanders are gonna win. It's a tough one, but I'll stick with the Cowboys here. They're at home. Give me the plus money. I still like the offense. The defense is terrible. This could be actually. I was damn 55 is a lot. I was gonna say I like the over. Then I saw 55. Like, ooh, that's a lot. It's two bad defenses, two good offenses. Anything can happen. It's a divisional game, so it's a risk here. I'll take the Cowboys. So and the over is kind of high, but I would not be. I'll take it. You just never know.
Yeah.
These are two bad defenses.
Yeah, I'll go Commanders here and the over as well. I just think they really need this win. I think for the Cowboys, you're already here talking about Jerry talking about they're gonna look to trade for people. I'm like, no, I just start, trading
Yeah.
some players and start getting ready for next year. Enjoy the offense that you do have and go off of that. All right, Gilbert, that's all the games. What do you got for the people here to close out the show?
Yeah, check out everything we're doing here on Compas on the beat. Yeah, again, don't be afraid to bet some dogs here. You don't have to take them straight up, but right now a lot of teams who are getting +4.5 or over are hitting, especially the games that don't seem lopsided. Like when you look at the Titans game, Titans Patriots, it feels lopsided. Okay, stay away. But there's some games that Saints Bears, like, okay, I could see that. Cardinals Packers, I could see that. Go with that gut feeling and take the plus money or the plus and the points there. It happened too many times. But there's just times where it's gonna be just too lopsided. Maybe throw in the money like that. That Raiders better put in, a bunch of money on them money line against the Titans, and it cashed in a $500,000. So it must be nice to have 600K or somewhere to throw and then get half a mil for your trouble. But yeah, maybe one day we'll make that type of money. But
Yeah.
Yeah, every situation is different. So what we try to do here on Game Week with the Compas is try to give you the what are the numbers saying, what's the real narrative, some football analysis, things like that. So hopefully you enjoy the show here. But check out everything we're doing on Compas on the Beat, Lunes Live, for Compas on Tuesday, House of Horns on Wednesday, What's Up Bolts on Wednesday. This drops every Thursday, Game Week with the Compas, and then all the post game shows on Sundays for What's Up Bolts and House of Horns. So we're doing it all here. 5 days out of the 7 days of the week. So yeah, we're staying busy.
Yep, and yeah, another week. I we're already a third of the way through the season, Gilbert. But yeah, a good episode here. We went through. We're starting. One of the things that I saw today, just to kind of end the show, is that they said there's 11 teams that are 4-2, and there's 20 teams that are over have over 3 wins, or more. So it just tells you there's a lot of parity, and we're starting to get to know what are some of the favorites and some of the dogs to look for. So stay tuned because we keep giving you those good dogs to go and look for.
Yeah, and this surprise happened throughout the whole season. We thought the Eagles are going to steamroll people and the Bills. Look at how they're doing now. 2 game losing streak for both sides. We thought the Giants are going to be dog crap. 2 game winning streak, or the 2 out of 3 winning streak. So the Patriots lost to the Raiders week 1. Now doing well on fire. So it's a long season. Narratives are going to shift back and forth. So always do your research. But let's get out of here. We've given enough information. So on that note, ya nos vamos, pues, vámonos.